Hi everyone, it is Fitz with your daily delivery. Hope you're well. I'm good. One more day in the ball cap. We'll see what tomorrow brings. And today's topic brings something that I hadn't really ever thought of. And it really wasn't the question that was posed to me, but it's where I ended up. I ask people on occasion, whether it's YouTube or GoPowercat or X, shoot me any ideas. You've got a topic. And one of my favorite accounts, officially known as @SirSmores, but K-Staters know him as Hugh Every Johnson or Huvery Johnson. I don't know. Great account. Ask me this. What would be the scenario for the Big 12 to go past 16, but inviting like a Boise State? Is there one where the Big 12 says we're going to 18 and the ACC still together? We're going to pick non-power schools? One, that's not happening, at least not right now. The only thing that will get the Big 12 over 16 is the ACC coming apart. But what if the ACC doesn't come apart and something happens that we haven't really discussed? What if the Big 10, now at 18, the SEC, now at 16, decide to get to 20 each? I don't know why they would. They would only do it if the ACC was on the market right there. If you could get some of those schools. But what if all six didn't come from the ACC? What if the SEC said, yeah, we're going to take two more out east in the South, and then we're going to go take two more from the Big 12? ACC sticks together in some form, even though they just lost 4 members. Big 12's done it. Let's see if the ACC could do it. So what does the Big 12 do? Does it like the number 16, or now short 2 more members, it just goes back to 14 and looks wounded in some ways? I don't think they do that. I think they like the number 16 and they would find a way to get back to it. But do they really want to go and dip into non-power schools again? They've done a marvelous job. Every school they've added has brought something to the table. Are some of them falling short of expectations? Yeah, Cincinnati, UCF, they're having some issues adjusting in their sports all the way up. I get it. And these schools would too. What happens if they want to add 2, but the ACC does not come apart? I have 9 schools here on my list. Naturally, they're not adding 9, and most of these would never really be considered by the Big 12, but they could be in play for the ACC. Let's get going with this because I'm going to get long here. Out east, UConn is just sitting there, and that would be the first invite or one of the first invites for the ACC. But there's been interest, and the Big 12 is a really good basketball conference, so UConn might want to be in the Big 12, even though they would have more Eastern mates in the ACC. But you got to keep this in mind. If the ACC loses 4 members, they're going to go through a rights fees adjustment period where their number might go down or just stay stagnant. And that's not good for that conference. It would probably go down because they're going to get gutted pretty good by the 4 main departures. So what do you do with that? UConn probably says, no, we're going to the Big 12. We want the money. Makes sense to me. But if the Big 12 adds UConn, who else would they add? Well, out west, you got some really intriguing ideas here. Boise State, San Diego State, and UNLV were all on the list the last time around. San Diego State kind of flirted with it, got close, and then kind of screwed it up. So I think all of them might be on the roster, probably topped by UNLV because of market and the presence of Vegas. But Boise State is the best overall football/athletic program there. It'll be an interesting choice. Of course, you can just go to Washington State and Oregon State and say, you want to join? Again, I don't know if they would because they've got a cool thing going right now with the Pac-12, and the 3 schools I just mentioned will be in the Pac-12. Maybe not UNLV. They're still messing around with it. I suspect they'll end up there. Out east, you've got schools that honestly I think probably would be in the ACC with one exception, Memphis. Memphis is not going to be in the American if all this goes down. They're either going to the Pac-12 or the Big 12. It might be a selection for the Big 12. Not sure. Regionally, it makes a lot of sense. It kind of helps tie you, the East to the West, a little bit more. Don't know if they do that. Memphis is a very interesting athletic department, though. They're competitive in a lot of sports. A lot of people talk about Tulane. It's simply not a fit for the Big 12. Tulane's a very small private institution. I just covered a football game last year at Tulane. While it's a really cool place to visit, these aren't really good facilities. I don't even think they measure up to the ACC, and They're known for having some facilities that fall short of what most Big 12 schools have. So we'll see if Tulane's on the membership list for the ACC. It makes a lot of sense. They really do take pride in academics. Tulane delivers that. The final school, and another one that brings academics, brings a great place to have a school in if you're the ACC or the Big 12, and that's South Florida. Now, Central Florida, UCF, isn't too crazy about adding their old rivals, but there's a lot of sense to this. You get another rivalry in the conference for the Big 12, you get another Florida school in the conference, and you get a really strong school in terms of academics and enrollment. South Florida is a really good school, and their athletic department has kind of gone through their ups and downs, but they seem to be trending in the right direction. So all of these schools could fill the Big 12. Certain schools more than others: UConn, South Florida, Memphis, UNLV, Boise, San Diego State. From those 6, I don't see Washington State and Oregon State fitting the bill again this time for whatever reason. But will all that happen? I doubt it. I think if the ACC gets poached, everyone will run for the hills. After all, as I mentioned, I think their rights fees will go down and the Big 12s will go up. So why would you stick around and not just join the Big 12, where you'd probably join with a group of your former conference mates, maybe up to 6 at that point, and still be in a pretty good conference with a lot of the same schools? I don't know if we're going to talk about expansion all summer like we have the last 2 years, but I welcome it. I love it. And this one was a hypothetical built on a hypothetical with a hypothetical answer. And hypothetically, this is over. Actually, it's over.